Thank you for tuning into the I'm Not Emotional podcast. My name is Javier, and a lot of the subject that we discuss on this podcast can fit under the categories of sexually orientated content, suicide, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, drug and alcohol abuse, physical, sexual, and verbal abuse as well. Now, please know if you are feeling suicidal in any kind of way, please reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 800-273-8255. Again, that number is 800-273-8255. A lot of the material that we discuss on this channel is not suitable for young viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Good morning. Today is September 19th, 2021. I have a very special guest on today. This is my buddy Jason Kurz, man.
Kurz.
Jason
Kurz. I'm your so good buddy that you can't remember my last name.
Well, I appreciate you coming on all the same.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. No, it's actually German for short.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's a representation of my memory of how to say your last name.
No, it's really funny because it's like, I'm a big dude. I'm tall, 6 foot tall, 300-pound man whose last name is short.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
How tall is your dad?
He's a little bit shorter than me. He's I think he's like 5'7" or 5'8".
Where'd you get your height from then?
You know what? It's weird because I wasn't, my father's side of the family wasn't really around. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there was anybody on that side, maybe my dad's dad or maybe an uncle or something that it might have come from, because I'm taller than all of the people on my mother's side of the family. So I'm not 100% sure on that.
Oh, right on. So, your dad just doesn't have a big family, or?
No, my dad's father passed away when he was really young.
Mm-hmm.
So him and his my dad's mother was around when I was really young, but she passed away when I was like 5. And she remarried at one point, and then even his stepfather passed away when my dad was fairly young.
Oh, wow.
So he has he had a stepbrother and a stepsister that were around for a long time. But I never really met the stepbrother because he lived out lived out east, and then his stepsister she was around a lot when I was really young, but then she got mixed up with a bunch of drugs and stuff, and then he just told her not to come around.
That sucks.
Yeah,
it's interesting when you you meet people that have smaller families.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm so used to like big, rambunctious, loud fucking families.
Yeah.
Like my mom, she has 4 sisters and a brother, so there's 6 of them. Mm. And then on my dad's side, he's got 3 sisters and a brother.
Right.
And it's just so many fucking aunts and uncles and cousins and stuff.
Yeah, my mother's side is a lot more social. Like, well, it's not like they're not social, but there's they're around. So my mom has a older brother that's around all the time, so we see him and his family all the time. And then,
are you close with him?
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He lives at my grandmother's house, and they both, between him and my mother, they take care of my grandmother, who's really aging out right now. She's pretty close to. I know. I mean, I hope she's has several more years, but I'm it's at that point of life where that she doesn't really have much longer.
Yeah, and what she has left might not be that great.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. How's your relationship with death, like in terms of like relatives and stuff?
It depends. Like, my relationship with death and relatives is mostly based on how close I am with them. Mm-hmm. And also the how fast like if it's a surprise thing or if you kind of know it's coming, makes a big difference as well. So like I know I'll probably be more accepting with my grandmother passing away because we see it coming. The last person I have lost in my family was actually one of my uncles. It was one of my mom's brothers. It was one of her little baby brother.
Were you close with him?
I knew him, and he was around all the time. Like not like around like all the time, but whenever we would have family gatherings and stuff, I would see him and talk to him and stuff. But later, like maybe about 5 or 6 years before he passed away, he had a stroke.
Ooh.
And he didn't pass away. He didn't really lose anything from it other than mobility. But at that same time, he didn't put forth the effort to get that mobility back. He just kind of shut down. So he was in convalescent, and he just was at convalescent, and he didn't try, and he was just like there. So when he passed away, it was like, well, he wasn't trying. So it's like, I feel bad that he passed away. It was, a cool uncle I knew, but I would have felt worse if he had tried. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, death is it's the reason I ask that is everybody has this like different relationship with death, and there's different levels of severity and how it affects your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks when somebody goes very suddenly, without reason, without cause. There's always with cause, but and it tears your fucking heart out.
Oh, it does.
And like the slowly dying of cancer thing sucks too.
Right.
But when someone just dies in their sleep.
Oh yeah. It was like when my grandfather passed away. He was still, he wasn't like a spry young man or anything. He was older in age, but he still got around. He still worked in the yard. Mm-hmm. He still did his thing. And then just one morning, he walked out into the front driveway, and just kind of looking around, and he had a brain aneurysm and fell over and died.
Damn. One of those dead before he hits the ground?
Well, that was one of the things was they couldn't really determine because there was a brain aneurysm, but they couldn't determine whether he died instantly or if when he fell and his head hit the ground, he died from that. But it was pretty instant.
Damn.
And it was like out of the blue. I was messed up for like weeks.
So you guys are pretty close.
I was pretty close with my grandfather.
Oh man,
bless you.
Thank you. Goddamn cats.
But yeah, no, we were really close with my grandfather. I mean, we'd see him like once a week, and it was like, wow, that sucks.
It's interesting how there's a lot of songs coming on right now about like grandpas. Wish grandpas never die.
Yeah,
it's dude. I think the relationship between grandson and grandpa, I think it's the catalyst of like exposing like people to death.
Right. It is. And it's like, because it's like a grandfather relationship. It's like,
you're a little closer to the mic.
It's like you have your like father-son relationship, but then your like grandfather-son relationship is like, it's different because you don't have the, like in your father-son relationship, your father is trying to watch out for you and take care of you, and trying to guide you, where your grandfather is still also guiding you, but there's less of the day-to-day, hey, hey, don't eat that.
Get out of your bed.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
that kind of thing. It's more of a wisdom knowledge than a, like, it's more of like wisdom and
less testosterone, more patience.
Right.
More gentle, more loving.
Right.
Because he's, as a grandfather, you've gone through that and you see the life through your son
Exactly.
and the child. So
Right.
it's pure.
You would expect your son you would expect your son to take the knowledge that he gained from you and pass it to his son, and then as a grandfather you could just kind of fill in the cracks.
Right, and also you can just kind of be cool grandpa.
Cool grandpa.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
do cool stuff. Yeah,
Right.
dude, my grandpas are kind of the shit, man. One grandpa, he's gotten to the point where there's not. I love him. There's not a whole lot going on right now because he's got Parkinson's and barely gets around enough. Doesn't leave the house. He kind of walks like little tiny steps.
Right.
And the other one, laughs and watches TVs with us and
That's cool.
tell story. Like sometimes when I work out of town, I work in Fresno, I'll drive back, and I know they're home all the time, and so I'll drive over. And my grandma will be cooking lunch already.
Oh,
And I'll
nice.
go sit down and have some lunch. And my grandpa's like, "You got any girlfriends yet?" I was like, "How many, Grandpa, you want me to have?" And so and he laughs, and my grandma's warming up tortillas, and it's just I definitely like being around my grandpa. I definitely know the difference when I was younger and I had younger aunts that were about the same age as me, and how he was towards me and my cousins. He was definitely like a brute, kind of just chase everybody around the house with the belt, you know. And now he's just like this. Hey, Grandpa, I'm gonna go to the store. And he puts stuffs $100 in my pocket. He goes, "Well, get me a Pepsi and keep the change." And I'm like, "Hey, Grandpa, like I got a job."
That's funny.
Yeah, man. Grandpas are cool, and it's a shame that they go.
It is, and it's it's a big part of life because that's probably going to be some of the first loss that people are going to have.
Yeah, right. And it really guess it really depends on the person, but
Right.
it's kind of one of those things you gotta get over. You gotta move on.
Right, you do.
Sure, you learned that.
Oh yeah, I definitely did. Like I said, when my grandfather passed away, I was messed up for a few weeks, and just kind of going through the motions. And then, after the funeral and everything, it was you start getting that closure. And it starts getting easier, and you move on.
So how old were you when you died?
When my grandfather died,
Yeah.
I was 22, I want to say. Yeah, I was like 22. And it was, so I was old enough to, because I think I had just moved out of my parents' house like 4 or 5 months beforehand.
Huh.
And it was interesting because, I didn't have people around all the time, like when I was living at home. So I was kind of dealing with it by myself. And I was having to, call my mom and be all like, having to tell her, how I felt about it. And then she was also, all tore up because that was her dad. And, there was a lot of conversations about, him and, things he did and that kind of thing.
Is this something you and your mom were able to connect on?
Oh yeah, definitely. One of the biggest parts of that is the legacy of loving the Dodgers that he passed down.
Oh yeah.
That is how our family has basically become a Dodger household.
That's what's up.
Because he'd have the radio on playing the Dodger game every day. We were, so if we were there, we were listening to the Dodgers because they were always on the radio. And if they weren't on the radio, they were on the TV. And like even now, my mom is the same way. If she's at home and they're on, it's on the TV. If she's not at home, it's on the radio.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Right. And then, so that was one of the big things that kind of got us through it. Me and mom would just hang out and watch some Dodger games and, be like, "Thanks, Grandpa." Yeah, that was some good stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like, even, I started working and I had money and stuff. So I was like, hey mom, let's go to the Dodger game. So we went, we'd go to the Dodger game, just me and her, and have like a mother-son, day and everything. And
That's pretty cool, man.
we'd do that every once in a while. But yeah, it was really cool.
How are things going between you and your mom now?
Oh, great. I it kind of sucks because she's not very mobile at the moment, but because she had an accident a couple weeks ago and messed up her knee, but she's getting better. She's getting around a lot better now. She's actually leveled up to using the walker instead of the wheelchair.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so she'll be moving around again. But it's like my relationship with her is awesome. I talk to her like at least every other day or so, and we talk about our days, and I let her know how work's been. We talk about, what plans we had. Oh, I went and had, dinner with Ryan and Maddie and Xavier, and we played these games and did this, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. It's very nice to hear that young men have relationships with their mothers.
Mm-hmm.
It's whenever you meet somebody and they don't really talk to their mom,
right?
It kind of breaks your heart a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
Like, oh man, either your mom was a piece of shit or you kind of are. It's like, or both.
Yeah. No, I was definitely a mama's boy growing up. So
Heck yeah, dog.
Yeah.
Me too. Well, I would like to have been.
No, I was definitely a mama's boy.
How are things going on between you and your dad now?
Me and my dad, our relationship now is a lot better than it was in the past. We when I was growing up at home, he was around, but he was around and he provided for the family, but he was never really fatherly. Mm-hmm. And so, anytime I needed to talk to somebody or, I needed anything, I'd always just go to mom. If I ever needed anything and she wasn't around, I'd still be like, hey, Dad, yeah, this, and expecting a no or a go away or a no, you don't need that type of answer. Mm-hmm. But nowadays we will, when I call and talk to him, he'll tell me how he's been and what he's been up to, but it's we never really get into any deep conversation or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's like that?
I don't know. It might have been the way he was raised. Maybe he wasn't like I was saying earlier, his father passed away when he was young.
And then a stepfather.
And then he had a stepfather, so he probably didn't have a very good connection. Maybe he didn't have a good connection with his stepfather, and he couldn't talk to his stepfather about things like that. So maybe that's just the way he is.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
It is. But that, and then also all growing up, he was an alcoholic. So
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he never got violent or anything, but he'd have his whiskey and 7-Up from the time he woke up in the morning till the time he went to bed. So,
man,
yeah.
How's his body doing now?
It's falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's diabetic. He just had a flare up a couple months ago, and they ended up taking like half of one of his feet off.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. But he's doing a lot better now. He's walking around fine. I think he just has like a sock stuffed in his shoe or something. But he has enough of his foot left to walk on it normally.
Right on.
Yeah.
Dude, that sucks. Half your foot.
Yeah. But
Is he still drinking?
No, he doesn't drink anymore. The first time he's been sick like maybe 3 or 4 times.
Uh-huh.
But the first time he got really sick, he was in the hospital for, I want to say he was in the hospital for like 6 weeks. And it was pancreatitis, I think is what it's called.
Uh-huh.
When your pancreas stops creating the chemicals and stuff that the body needs or something.
Insulin and shit?
Insulin and stuff. So after that happened and he started getting better, and I think it was as soon as he got to come home, my mom just straight up said, you cannot drink anymore. If you start drinking again, then you're going to have to find somewhere else to be.
Wow.
And he's, all while I was growing up, mom cooked every night. he'd go out and mow the lawn or have me mow the lawn. He'd go to work and everything, but I don't know if he'd actually be able to function without her around, taking care of him.
Yeah.
So he stopped drinking, and then he had another flare up like a few years later, and he got sick again, but then he'd get better, and it always stems from he'd get to a point where he was feeling better and he felt more normal, and then he would stop doing the things that he was supposed to be doing to control the issues.
Yeah, okay.
And then so he would act, normal and do his normal thing, and then he'd get sick again.
Yeah, let that shit slide.
Right.
And it caught up on him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So he still kind of does the same thing, but he doesn't drink anymore. He actually stopped using tobacco too, because he was a dipper, and he stopped doing that. And he does good. He's taking insulin and everything. But ever since the first time he got sick, it kind of turned our relationship around, because he wasn't drunk, so he wasn't shutting off. And at that point, when they let him come home, he was still on antibiotics, and they were IV antibiotics.
Oh,
and
shit.
he would have to, like, 3 or 4 times a day, he would have to hook up to an IV and get antibiotics.
Sit down and wait for the...
And sit down and wait. So I think at that point I was still living at home. I think it was right after high school, and I was starting to take some college courses, but I was still living at home. And I would be in charge of the 11 o'clock midnight shift of helping him take his antibiotics. Right. So it gave us, an hour every night where we were just sitting there, and we would, have conversations, and it changed our relationship. It still doesn't get it never got very deep, but we would, I'd talk about my day, and he'd listen, and we'd watch a show or something.
Right.
And he'd be all like, "Oh, I remember, watching this show way back when." Or we'd talk about, he's really big into, he reads sci-fi and what would like spy novels.
Like Tom Clancy?
He doesn't like Tom Clancy. There's this one, Mac Bolan. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's a character, and it's like one of those serialized books where they come out with a new book like every month. And there's cool. There's probably 7 or 8 authors that write the same character and everything.
It's fucking badass.
Right.
That seems like, I don't know, man, if you had a lot of free time.
Right. But he has he would have towers of these books, because he'd just burn through them. Mm. And then he's like, "Oh, next one." Burn through it. Oh, next one. It's kind of they're about the sizes of a manga volume or something. So, but it was just text. It was, they weren't animated or anything, but he would just burn through them. Right. And then he did he read a lot of sci-fi, like Heinlein and stuff, which is pretty cool. He recommended me some cool sci-fi stuff that I actually went back and read, and I was like, "Oh wow, yeah, this is really cool. I like this," because I'm a sci-fi nerd too. Growing up watching Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah, but you're on a different level, aren't you?
Well, I mean, I really enjoy, Star Wars, Star Trek, all that stuff.
Ninja Sex Party.
Oh, well, Ninja Sex Party is it's a band. And they do mostly comedy music, and then they do some other covers and stuff.
Yeah.
But that band got popularized by Danny Sexbang, the main vocalist, is a co-host for the Game Grumps, which is a YouTube everybody on YouTube knows who the Game Grumps are. They play video games and they comment about it and everything.
Oh.
So, but that's how that band got popularized, because he was doing Game Grumps and then he started promoting his band. And then they actually did some videos and stuff, and like the Game Grump guys were in the videos, so all the people that were watching Game Grumps kind of picked that up, and then it got super popular. Cool. Yeah,
that's cool. I've always wanted to check it out. I never get the chance to, because I always forget it exists right after I leave your house.
Right. Well, Courtney, my wife, she plays their music all the time, so you've heard it.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's I must say I very much admire you and your wife's relationship.
Oh yeah,
you guys seem very purely best friends.
Oh, definitely are.
Being husband and wife.
Yeah, no, it was meeting her was epic. I mean, because like you said, we're best friends. We're totally into the same stuff. We both like video games. We both like anime. We both like, games. I met her through a friend. And then at the time when I met her, we were actually both dating other people.
Uh-huh.
And we were hanging out at another mutual friend's house playing Magic the Gathering, the card game. And so we met that way. Uh-huh. And then a little bit later, she ended up breaking up with her boyfriend at the time. And I ended up breaking up with my girlfriend at the time. And I knew that she worked at the mall. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go hit her up. So I was out shopping. I stopped and got me some Magic cards. And then I swung in and I where she worked, and I swung in and I was like, hey, how's it going? Hey, I got a bunch of Magic cards. And she's like, let's go through them later and hang out and whatever. And she's like, oh yeah, no, that's cool. Awesome. And so I think we ended up hanging out later and like going through the packs that I bought. And then at that time, I was like, hey, I'd like to, take you out to dinner on a date. And she's like, oh, okay. No, that's cool. So we went to Red Robin and
Classic
had a burger, had a couple of beers. And then I was like, we were talking about, I can't remember what led the conversation to it, but we were talking about Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. Have you ever heard of that?
Does. No, I don't know what that is.
It's so back when they had the writer's strike in the 2000s, I think it was in. Neil Patrick Harris and what's that director that did some of the he did some of the Avenger movies. Can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Jon Favreau?
No, he did Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He did one of the Avenger movies, or it was either one of the Avenger movies or I think it was one of the Avenger movies. I can't remember. But him and Neil Patrick Harris and then a few other actors.
Bob Vance from Vance Refrigeration too.
Maybe, I don't know. But they were getting bored during the writer's strike.
Okay.
So they made their own thing. And it was a 3-part, because they weren't like episodes of it. Well, they were basically episodes of a show, but they were only like 15, 20 minutes long. Uh-huh. And they posted them online because of the writer's strike, they couldn't like have them on TV or anything.
Right.
So they posted them online, and they were just really good. And it was a musical, and it was this character who... It was the character of Dr. Horrible trying to, become a popular villain. And he kept kind of messing it up as he went.
Oh, okay.
But it was a musical, so there was singing and music and everything. It's great. You should watch it if you haven't seen it.
What's it called?
Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along Blog.
Dr. Horrible Sing-Along. I'll check it out, man. You know he's got cool shit to watch.
Right. But anyway, our conversation was leading to that while we were having dinner at Red Robin, and I was telling her that I had the DVD, and on the DVD they have a commentary. Uh-huh. So the commentary for this, it's actually called Commentary the Musical, and it's the entire commentary is sung. So it's the characters singing about the actual show, and it's just hilarious. And she's like, no, I never saw that or anything. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Well, why don't we finish dinner and just come over and we'll watch it? Are you doing anything? And she's, oh, no, that sounds awesome. So we went and we watched it and then had a good night and had fun. And then I think I took her home, got a little kiss and said, did you have fun? Yeah. You want to be my girlfriend? Sure.
Whoa.
So,
right
yeah.
on, man.
But yeah, no, it's just, and then it just went freaking snowballed from there. I think we dated for 3 or 4 months, I want to say. And then she ended up moving in with me. And then it was September 4th was when we kind of officially began dating. And then the next September 4th, I proposed to her. And then it was 2 years later after that, on September 4th, we got married.
Wow.
I kept all my anniversaries on the same day. I was
wise man.
I was pretty smart with that.
Yes, you were.
But yeah, no, we just had our 7-year wedding anniversary like at the beginning of the month.
Wow.
So yeah, like I said, she's the best thing ever for me.
Right on, brother. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Always, your wife's always a joy to be around.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you like her too.
So 7 years.
Yeah.
That's quite the journey.
Yeah.
Where did you see yourself before or let's see, 8 years ago, right? 8 years since you met her?
Yeah. So no, it was 10 years. It would have been, so our 7-year wedding anniversary, our 10-year being together.
How would you say you changed in that 10 years?
Oh, I've definitely probably grown up in the manner of looking out for other people more than myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because having a partner like that, you're not just always looking out for number one. You're also now looking out for number two. So, number one being your significant other and number two being yourself.
Sure. And I bet like your relationship with your dad growing up, it's becoming more considerate of your girl.
Right.
Maybe
and
a different change of fucking tone and shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because considering my relationship with my father and how distant he was when I was growing up, it's before I started dating Courtney, and even when I was dating before Courtney, I kind of felt like I was distant from other people. And it took a lot to get past that certain point to where I think when I met Courtney, it was like right before I met Courtney and started dating her, I kind of sat down and took a good hard look at myself and said, hey, I need to do something different. I can't just kind of be by myself and just do this by myself. I want to have love. I want to, get out, meet more people, and find somebody to be with. So I did that, and then I met Courtney and snowballed from there.
Right on, man.
But yeah, like going back to that, it was I know that there was one relationship I was in when I was in my 20s that me and this girl started dating, and we were having a blast. We'd go to parties together and, normal dating stuff. And we never got to the point, like we'd spend like maybe, 3 or 4 days together, like almost living together, but I still had my own apartment. And so I'd, go home and go to work every day. And then, every once in a while, instead of going back over to her house, I'd just go home for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. But it was a pretty good relationship. But I don't know, like I was saying, it was like I was still distant. So I couldn't overcome that. And then at some point we just stopped hanging out. like we were boyfriend and girlfriend, dating, doing the whole thing, and then we just stopped because I guess because the relationship wasn't going to evolve from what it was.
Mm-hmm.
We both lost interest, I'm guessing, but it was kind of weird. I just called her one day and I was like, "Hey, are we still, dating and stuff?" And
She's like, "Who's this?"
no, it wasn't that bad. And she was like, "I don't know, are we?" And I was like, "I don't think we are anymore." And she's like, "Yeah, no, I get it." So
Wow.
it was like very amicable. Like neither of us was pissed off or anything.
Very business.
It was
centric,
yeah, it was weird because before that, the only other relationship that I had that would resemble an adult relationship, when I broke it off, I was getting yelled at because I was like, "What do you mean no?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, we're done."
Yeah, damn. I mean, it's the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So.
Yeah, so you see yourself as someone who's changed and progressed in a way that you've become more inclusive, more extroverted.
Right. I still think of myself as an introvert, or no,
Maybe introverted in your thought process, but not introverted in how you carry yourself around others.
no, yeah. Well, there's a new thing I actually learned of not too long ago, is extroverts with a social timer. So you're extroverted and you act like an extrovert. You talk to, you hold yourself in that manner of an extrovert, and you can have fun around people and be out in groups and stuff. But then all of a sudden something will click.
Your tank is empty.
And then you're like, "Oh, my timer just ran out," and you just don't want to be around people at all anymore.
Okay. How often does that happen?
It usually happens like, I don't know. I mean, we were hanging out last night and it kind of went off. And then it's usually the most noticeable I see it is like if me and Courtney are out like shopping and going out and doing stuff, then it'll happen. Like we'll be in like the middle of a store and she'll be looking at something and I'll just be like, "Yeah, I can't be around all these people anymore."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like, and she'll see it. She can see it on my face because, we're so in tune at this point. She's like, "Okay, let me just finish this up real quick and we'll go home." And then I'll be like, "Okay, cool." So.
Wow.
But
that's interesting. I never really.
Yeah. I've done it a few times. Like I said, it's usually like when we're out and it's a lot of people around that I don't know.
Kind of like last night.
Well, no, there was I knew pretty much everybody except
a couple people here.
There was a couple people that I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was really that
An
social
image.
timer thing going off last night. I think it was just I was busy focusing on stuff all day yesterday, and
You showed up with a half tank.
I showed up with a half tank, right?
Yeah.
So, because I was working on that Xbox 360 project all day yesterday, and
Yeah, with the blue wires and the white wires.
yeah the
I
blue
see it.
wires and the white wires.
Dude, I definitely it's weird the difference between extroverted and introverted. Like you said, you have the thing where you get fed up and you're done. But now I know, like if you're like, "I'm gonna head out," you're like, "All right, dog, you had enough."
Right.
Which is cool. I respect it.
Yeah.
It's funny. I heard this thing once. It's like the difference between extroverted and introverted. Introverted people, their idea of a good time is sitting in a dark room with all the lights off, with a big sweater on under the blankets.
Right.
Yeah, at night.
Right.
And the idea of the extroverted idea of a good time is sitting on a park bench doing cocaine at 2 a.m. with 80 of his closest friends.
Yeah. No, I think I definitely find enjoyment in being in my cave at home.
Yeah. Which is weird because I'm a very extroverted person.
Mm-hmm.
And living alone, there was like hurdles.
Yeah.
It was weird, man, because I've gotten to the point where I really enjoy it, and it's really special to me now. But before, it was a little terrifying almost. Being here all alone all the time at night. But now it's like, I come in, bro, I smell my smells. It's all good, man. It's my place. This is my spot.
Yeah. Did this is your first house out of your parents' house?
So I got kicked out when I was 17.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, for tattoos.
Oh.
And I rented rooms out at people's houses. I got a roommate and I got an apartment.
Okay. But this is your first on your own?
Like solo, yeah.
Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing when I first left the house. I was me and a roommate lived together we rented that apartment for like 2.5, 3 years, I think.
Oh wow, that's just it, huh?
Yeah. So it worked out really good because we were friends and we had, it was a 50-50 apartment type thing, and, we both paid our share, and we respected each other's areas and everything. But it was, towards when we left, the reason we left the apartment was because he bought a house. His parents helped him purchase a house. And all through us, cleaning up the apartment and moving and everything, I talked to my parents and was like, hey, I want to come home and crash for a couple of months until I find a new, place to live. And my parents are cool. So my mom, I'm a mama's boy. So she was like, oh, yay, come home. I'll make dinner every night. And da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, yeah, but you don't have to do all that. I've been living by myself for, so long. I can take care of myself now. I'm an adult mom. But but during the whole process of us moving out, he was like nagging me as like, hey, come rent a room in the house. I'll give you a room. You can pay me this much. It'll be cool. It'll be the exact same. But I had in the back of my head, I had that feeling that it was like, it's not going to be the same because it's his house.
Oh, for sure.
So, I went home. I went to my parents' house for a while, and there was a couple of times there was parties, and he threw a party at the house and everything, and I came over and hung out, and and he had a couple of parties, and we'd see each other at parties other places because we were friends. And every time he'd you rent the room and da 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 da, and I really wasn't finding anything else for housing, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll come and rent a room from you. And yeah, like I said, it ended up working out exactly like I thought. It was his house, so I ended up spending a lot of my time in my room because I didn't feel like I could go anywhere else. He got kind of strict about the whole house and da 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 da. So it lasted. I stayed there for I ended up staying there for about 8 months, I think. I did.
8 months is a long time.
It is, but there was a pretty good sized period, probably like 4 months worth. I was kind of bedridden anyway because I had some health issues, and so I mean it wasn't gonna be any different from me being in the bed anyway. So,
sure. How's your health now?
I think my health's really good right now. I've actually, I mean, not in the last month or so, but in the last year or two, I started going to the gym. I kind of stopped about a month or two ago, so I need to get back into it. But, everybody that goes to the gym has little stints where they're like, no, I'm not going to go for a while. Yeah. And then they start going again. So I'm hoping I can start going again soon.
Yeah, they kind of get lost in the sauce, man. They stop going. I think it happens to everybody, right? They tell themselves, I'm going to start going again. I guarantee you, hon, come Monday morning. I'm going to go early in the morning right before work. I'm going to go
Right.
I'm going to go to the gym for 5 hours and work out every muscle in my body. And then on Monday morning, the alarm's going off. He's like, oh, shit, I got to get to work. You just don't go, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a totally normal thing.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, physically and health-wise, the last few years, I've been actually really, really good.
Uh-huh.
Because I know I've had a couple of health things in the past. I had a Meckel's diviculitoritis, which was a growth on my intestine, and it got impacted. So
Classic diviculitis.
Yeah.
Classic.
Right. So it was funny because that's when I got sick when I was living there at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I called my mom and I was like, hey, something's not right. I hurt bad and can you take me to the urgent care? So she came and picked me up and we went to the urgent care, and the urgent care, they were all like, oh, it's appendicitis. Go to the hospital. They'll take your appendix out. And I was like, okay, cool. So we would go to the hospital and they put me under, and then I wake up and they're like, so it wasn't appendicitis. It was Meckel's da-da-da-da-da. But we also took your appendix while we were in there, so don't worry about that anymore.
Whoa.
So I was like, okay, cool. But apparently, they went in laparoscopically, with the 2 little holes to do the appendix, and they got to the appendix and it looked fine. So they were like, okay, well, this isn't it. So then they went to exploratory mode and put a big old incision in my gut so that they could go through and find it.
Yeah.
And then they found it and removed it and fixed everything and put it all back together.
So how big was the growth?
It was probably about the size of a thumb.
And it was impacted, means it was full of shit?
Yeah, so it's like on your intestine, like basically if there was a thumb growing out of your intestine, but then all the shit was getting into it, and it built up to where it was swelling up and maybe blocking off the rest of your intestine.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So it wasn't fun.
Classic fucking...
Meckel's diviculitoritis.
Meckel's diviculitoritis.
But yeah,
I could have told you that's how it was going to turn out.
Yeah. So yeah, I got really sick from that, and then I was down for, like I said, I was out. I was pretty much bedridden for a few months, and then yeah,
that sounds terrible.
It like at the beginning it was really bad, and then it slowly gets better and better and better. But it wouldn't have been bad if it was just that little laparoscopic surgery with 2 holes. It was the fact that they had to basically fillet me like a fish and go in there and look around and move everything around and all of that.
When they cut into your abdominal wall, did they cut it horizontally or against the grain? Against the grain.
Yeah,
man.
they cut basically from my belly button to the side. Because I still have, well, you can't see it now, but I had a big old scar for the longest time. And I ended up, I got better from that. And then a year later, I noticed where my scar was, it was bulging out. I ended up getting a hernia from where they had that incision. So then I ended up having to get another surgery to fix the hernia.
Ouch.
So that took me out for another 6 weeks or so, like a year later. But a year later, I was in my own apartment, living by myself like you are now. So
how'd you handle missing so much work?
Luckily my work is really cool, and I had benefits, and I had, temporary disability benefits and everything. So I was actually making more money not being at work and being on medical leave than I would have been making at work.
And you weren't spending no money because you're bedridden.
Right. Exactly.
Ooh, son, you're stacking your bills up.
I was, sitting and watching TV and playing video games.
That's what's up. I need to get one of those vermiculitis diverticulitis to catch lots of bills.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a pretty crazy part of my life.
That's fucking nutty, man. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. It wasn't like serious. It wasn't like, cancer or something, but it was
being in bed for 4 months. I can imagine your body starting to fall apart.
Oh yeah, you get you get bored. I'd have to get up and try to walk around, even though I didn't want to, and it hurt and everything. But you did what you had to do.
Yeah, you gotta survive, bro.
Right. I remember watching like entire series of shows on Netflix. And then now I couldn't even tell you what they were because I was just zoned out. Like,
were you high as fuck the whole time?
No, I probably wasn't too high. I mean, I was probably taking some pretty hardcore pain med, but
yeah, you're lucky you didn't walk away with that with an opioid addiction.
Yeah, I was aware of opioids and how they work and everything, so I did my best to just take what I needed and not like do it every day. Just do it when it was like just take them when it was bad, you know what I mean? Not try to get, not try to take them constantly at a set time, just kind of anyway. Yeah,
you gotta be cautious about it, bro.
Exactly.
It's funny how illness, dude. Everything could be working out fine, and you're doing everything that's necessary, and you're following the lines, and you're being a productive citizen, and then bam!
Oh yeah,
illness, bro.
Right.
It ain't no joke, man. Just like simple things, like when I got COVID, everything was doing everything right. I was doing everything right. I was going to work, saving up, catching up on bills. I had extra money. And then, bam, dude, I was out for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And I didn't get any money from it. Just took the loss.
That sucks.
Yeah.
They didn't give you any... No, I think they're supposed to.
My boss doesn't even like paying for the water bottles. And the guys work out in the sun.
Ah. One of those. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like, I think my employer gave us a couple of weeks off if we got sick or anything. I ended up having to use 2 weeks because they sent me home because... one of my coworkers that I sit right next to ended up getting it, and they were like, "Nope, go home." So, but, yeah, I've been, I've been working at the same place for 16 years, so they apparently they're doing something right if I'm still sitting around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want you to be around, they'll pay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
16 years, man. So how old were you when you started there?
I started in 2005, and I was 23, I think. I'd have to do the math. I don't want to do it right now.
Yeah, it's about when I started working for Pfizer.
Yeah.
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 23 years old when I walked in.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it was funny because I walked in. I was going to BC, and I was working on an associate's degree for electronics, for industrial electronics. And I had taken a bunch of the classes needed for like certificates. Mm-hmm. So I had like 3 or 4 certificates in electronics and PLC programming and some CNC machining and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting tired of school. I'm going to go find a job. So I got a job at a place that rents out industrial equipment. And I was working part-time there, but I was still looking for something that was full-time. And I worked there for like a week and a half or 2 weeks. And then my current employer called me and was like, "Oh, we want to offer you this job as a mechanic assistant." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Sounds good." Making $9 an hour at the time. Mm-hmm. And I went in, and after my first 3 months, which is usually, normal 90-day intro thing, and my boss at the time was like, "Oh, you're kind of awesome. I'm gonna just promote you to a mechanic and give you a $2 raise."
That's pretty cool, man.
So 23 years old, early 2000s, making $11 an hour.
Which minimum wage was like
Minimum
$7?
wage at the time was like $7. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm doing pretty good. And then they just kept, I kept moving up, and they kept giving me pretty decent raises every year. Mm-hmm. So a few years back, I kind of got the itch to go back to school and finish that associate's degree I was working on. So I did that in the evenings. And since I had that electronics associate's degree, I transferred. I still worked the same place, but I transferred over to their electrical and controls department. Mm. And I got a nice little bump there. And I went back to school it was more of a, I want to do this for myself because I started it, and I kind of felt bad because I never finished it. And it was like, wasn't too horrible to go back and finish it. I think I ended up taking maybe 8 classes. So it was something I was doing more for myself, but then it ended up helping me out at work too. So.
Oh, sneezing, bro. Fucking cats, dog.
Yeah.
So that sounds good, man. That sounds you've always been a handy guy, right?
Oh yeah.
You've always been a fucking computer guy.
Right. I do computers, and I can do computers. I do home stuff around the house. And
what are some projects you're working on now?
Right now, I have an Xbox 360 that I'm modifying to basically
shoot laser beams.
Can't shoot laser beams, but I can run. I can take a regular Xbox 360 game. I will be able to put it in the disk drive and just copy it to the internal hard drive, and then I can put that disk away, and I won't need it anymore.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Right.
That's kind of badass.
So
I got a bunch of games you can scan into your thing.
There you go. Yeah, I'll probably take you up on that.
Yeah, dude.
Or I'll bring my system over and just do it here.
Yeah, dude, we'll fucking watch TV or something.
Yeah.
Watch the Dodger game.
There you go. Watch the Dodger game. But other than that, I do a lot of 3D printing. I got the 3D printing bug a couple years ago, and I bought a 3D printer, got into that, kind of self-taught myself with YouTube and everything on how to run all that. And then I've been doing that. I've been really thinking about trying to not necessarily invest more into it, but maybe see if I can turn it into an income. But a fun side income thing. But yeah, no, those are the main projects I'm working on right now. I have too many hobbies, so I'll start working on one of my hobbies, and then I'll kind of set it aside and start working on a different hobby. And then I have a couple of some of my hobbies that I haven't touched in a couple of years, but I know one day I'll wake up and I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna go do this, and I'll work on it for 3 weeks or something, and then
maybe not finish it.
Right, maybe not finish it and move on to something else, or get busy, working in something, or I'll start watching a show or playing a game with Courtney, and then it'll be stagnant again.
Dude, I am the same fucking way. Just yesterday I saw I want a bike real bad, motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
And I saw this guy had the frame in his backyard, and I was like, you know what? What if I talk to this guy? I buy the frame for $100, and I just build a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, hold on. Where the fuck are you gonna have the time and the money
and the tools
to build a bike?
Right.
And I was just like, well, just be like building a computer or building. Yeah. Fucking just follow the instructions, and then you'll troubleshoot and solve problems.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, yeah, but
right.
Fuck, it's gonna take 6 months and $4,000.
Yeah.
He's like, you got 6 months, you got $4,000.
Right. Well, shoot, I, bought my bike, my motorcycle, running and everything, and I've probably put about $1,000 into it just in upgrades.
Yeah. So it's just a beautiful bike.
Right.
It's just like, man. I think it's funny. I want a new project every fucking week.
Yeah.
Like building computers. I built 2 computers, and then one of them didn't work, and so I took to go. And he's like, "Yeah, your motherboard's shot. It's not really complying well with your RAM and your CPU." And just like, fuck, it's like $800.
Yeah.
The whole point was to build it for $50, to
Yeah.
build it cheap. And then I got involved in something else, and just now to sit here and collect dust. I can't get rid of it.
Right.
I
know what you mean. I have some computer parts sitting at home that are just sitting there now, and I'm like, well, maybe I can like sell them on OfferUp or something, but then I'd have to go through all
effort,
that, put in the effort to like list everything and box it up all nice, and
then at the end of the day, it's probably not going to sell because it's something so little different, and people don't want to buy used electronics.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can buy used electronics and you can actually probably put together something really cheap, but you know how it is.
Yeah, I got better things to worry about. But yeah, I mean, I'd definitely like to build a computer so I can edit videos and stuff. But I mean, the laptop's fine.
Yeah,
it's all right.
That's okay. You'll catch your break, and you'll get super big, and you'll have companies sending you computers and microphones. And
that'll be cool stuff. For sure. Yeah. That'll be the day.
They'll send you a giant box full of soundproofing to put all over your walls.
Heck yeah, dog. I like the echo, man. It speaks truth, dog.
It does. It makes it feel more natural.
Feels like we're in a restroom. I love it. It's all good, man. So we'll finish on this. There's a series of questions I like to ask the guests. One was, what's your relationship with death?
Mm-hmm.
And you answered that one. And another one is, if something were to happen to you, knock on wood, God forbid, what's something that you want people to hear you say, or a message you'd like to leave behind?
If something were to happen to me, I would definitely want everybody to know not to... I would definitely want everybody and hope everybody would not feel bad for losing me, but just remember the person I was, and don't let it, try not to let it affect you too bad. I mean, hopefully people think of me as a cool guy, but I don't want anybody to, cry buckets over me or anything. Yeah. If I'm not here anymore, then, move on, take it with, keep your head held high and, move forward. Mm-hmm. But, still remember some of the funny jokes I tried to tell.
Yeah, right on, man. What's some wisdom that you'd like to be carried on?
Oh, that's, I have a lot of technical know-how, and that's one of my things that I really wish. I don't have kids, and one of the things that if I did have kids or somebody I could pass things on to, a lot of my technical knowledge when it comes to electronics and my hobbies and my 3D printing and all of that, I wish I had stuff that I could pass that on to. I mean, a lot of it isn't proprietary knowledge that just I know. Anybody can learn it, but it would be nice to be able to share that with people. So I try to. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But just I would like to pass on, the knowledge of, just because you can't do something now doesn't mean you can't do it later. You can always go, there's always resources to try and learn something new. If you have something that you don't quite understand, like YouTube is a beautiful resource for finding the knowledge and sharing knowledge of how to, do things. Mm-hmm. And in fact, just yesterday, I was, like I just said, I've been working on this Xbox 360 project, and I hit a wall. So, I just hop on YouTube, type in how do I dump the VNAND in the processor on the 360 so that I can load it up in, JTagger?
As one does, yes.
As one does. And, bam, 5 videos on how to do it right there. So YouTube's awesome.
YouTube's a shit, man. I definitely appreciate it. It's definitely given me the opportunity to post my videos.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to put them somewhere else as well, but YouTube's just where it's at right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then that's a good place, and that's the other cool thing is anybody can put anything on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a giant repository of knowledge.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a giant library if you think about it. You got everybody in the world can write whatever they want and put it in this library, and
oh man, it could be like a testament to what was that great library in Greece that the Mongolians burned down?
Oh, is it the Library of Alexandria?
Yeah, and they said there was so much lost,
Right.
and when they burned it down,
Right.
History on civilizations that existed that we know nothing
right.
about. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the same thing. Like if something were to happen to YouTube, the same thing. That would be such a setback for civilization. I think so.
Dude, the whole world uses YouTube.
Right.
And every answer to every problem. Dude, my fucking turntable for my record player, it was having this issue where it's having a speed issue. Mm-hmm. And I looked up the serial and the model number, and it's something that happens fairly common with that model and that by that manufacturer. And there was like 36 videos on how to fix it.
Right.
And I was just like, holy fuck, dude, there's an answer to every problem you have.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're even answering some problems too with your podcast.
Sure. Yeah.
So
it's a cycle, dog.
it is.
I was looking up problems for my chickens because I got 2 chickens that were killed by raccoons last week.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a story and a half. So I was looking up why it happened. And it happened because I got comfortable and I wouldn't lock up the coop every night. And it was like, okay, it's like a issue. I got this big rooster, he'll handle things. And then I knew there was one raccoon that lived in this pecan tree. Mm-hmm. And it was, or in neighborhoods, and the houses nearby and trees nearby, but she was mostly in that pecan tree. And I knew there was there's a particular reason why it happened like last week in September and towards the end of September. And turns out raccoons, she pushes her cubs out of the den towards the beginning of fall. Oh. That way she can prep for her winter.
Right.
And then once spring comes around, she has her cubs, a new litter of cubs.
Right.
And so who killed my chickens were her cubs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to... I was looking up ways to find some conflict resolution between me and the raccoons. And so I think it might come down to making everybody raccoon hats.
No, I'm down. I'll take a raccoon hat.
Yeah, dog. Kill my chickens, bro. Motherfuckers, dog.
That's your Thanksgiving meal.
That's my Thanksgiving meal. Yeah, it's a raccoon now.
It's raccoons now.
Now it is, dog. I got a buddy who lives out in Louisiana. And I called him. I was like, hey, man, I got a little bit of a raccoon problem. What do you suggest? He goes, oh, brother, what you need to do is you got to kill him. You kill him and then you cut the glands out. The glands are what make meat taste bad. You get the glands out and you fucking grill that motherfucker, no problem.
Yeah.
I was like, really? He goes, yeah, dude, raccoon's delicious. I was like, get the fuck out of here. What about city raccoon? He goes, city raccoon's gross, but you want to solve a problem, that's how you solve a problem. You eat the motherfucker.
Eat them?
Yeah, dog. It's the circle of life, bro.
There you go.
Fuck out of here.
There you go.
Oh, man. Well, I do. We're at 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Right, dude? These things fucking fly by.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate you coming on and sharing some of your wisdom and
of course,
sharing some of the things that you've experienced. I'd love to have you on again.
Oh yeah, anytime.
I'll have you and your wife on at the same time.
Yeah, I know you were mentioning that would be kind of cool to have both me and Courtney on at the same time.
Yeah, that way you guys can fight and I'll referee.
There you go.
Get the views, dog.
You're gonna let us have a therapy session.
Thanks, yeah. And then me unqualified, just like coach or refereeing this whole situation.
Yeah. Nah, it's funny because it's like when we one of the ways we do conflict resolution is we'll just play a game. We'll play a video game or a board game or a game of Magic, and kind of.
All right. Oh well, who picks the game? That's how we fucking find out.
Yeah.
Who the victor is.
Yeah. So it's
like, oh, I'll play Mario Kart. You're like, fuck that. You give me Mario Kart every fucking time we play Mario Kart.
Right.
We play Mortal Kombat. She's like, fuck that.
I'd be like, fuck that. I suck at Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Of course.
I do love you, and
I love you too.
And I do appreciate our friendship very much.
You're welcome. I appreciate our friendship as well.
All right, man. I'll thank you for coming on. And today is September 19th.
Right.
September 19th, 2021. My birthday is on Wednesday, by the way.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
I'll be 26, dog.
I'm Friday night, right?
Saturday.
Saturday's
okay. The party. Yeah.
Saturday's the party.
All right, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Whoever's listening, whatever the fuck.